Hello, Internet, YouTube. Jamie, will you sing the flute for me? Hello and welcome to the Tifo Football Podcast. I'm Joe Devine, and today, this morning, very early in the morning as we record, it's just a 1:45. I'm joined by Monsieur Jon Mackenzie.
Bonjour, ça va?
Kaynak.
Guten Nacht, Joe.
JJ Bull.
Hello.
Hello, all right, how's it going?
Yes.
Yes, it's going yes. Now, one thing we want to get out of the way right at the very beginning here, well, two things actually. One, we're recording this in the immediate aftermath of the shock victory for Paraguay against Germany on penalties. We're doing this before the Netherlands play Morocco. That happens in about 90 minutes or so. So we don't know the result of that game. That means we don't yet know who's going to go through and meet. Who is it that they meet? Oh, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Who meets Canada Paraguay will meet. Probably will meet France. We'll get to this later. We don't know the result of the Netherlands-Morocco game, so we don't know who's going to go through and meet Canada in the next round. And also, if you were concerned, Kaya has simply had a little bit of sunburn because he fell asleep on the beach.
Yeah, my entire body looks like a Palermo kit right now.
There you go. But you're thriving off the back of those penalties, Kaya. I'm sure you are. Now, what are we going to talk about on tonight's podcast? Well, Germany, Paraguay, what a huge shock, biggest shock of the World Cup so far, and some thrilling penalties. We'll be getting to that right away. After that, we're going to play a rondo. Brazil, earlier in the day, they snuck past Japan, didn't they? That was quite a fun game to reach the round of 16. Originally, we were going to do the live watch-along for that game and then record the podcast. I'm glad that we waited, despite it being very late at night now. Yesterday, Canada beat South Africa with a last-minute goal to go through to the round of 16. And at the end of the podcast, we're going to check in on points are bad, and we've got the 6th instalment of the second-hand eBay game. John and JJ, have you got your items ready?
Yes.
Very exciting. Okay, producer Ryan, did I forget anything? That doesn't seem like it. Well, later, someone will add music to this pause. Yes, there we go. Germany won Paraguay. Now, do you remember what I normally do for this? Normally I go, Germany won 3, brackets 4, unbrackets 1 Paraguay. There you go. Of course, what I mean is it was a 1-1 in 90 minutes, and then at full-time 120 minutes. And then we had some incredible penalties. And the biggest shock of the tournament so far, Paraguay knocking Germany out on penalties in Boston. Despite dominating the early possession, it was Paraguay who took the lead. And after a well-worked goal from Julio Enciso off a Matthias Galazza assist, Germany equalised not long early into the second half through Kai Havertz, a lovely flicked header. Who missed the opening penalty in the shootout. Also, Kai Havertz did. Nick Voltemade missed the 4th, and then misses from Balbuena and Tar and Sanabria were followed by a winning penalty by Jose Canale, which sent Paraguay through to the round of 16. Quite incredible. We think they will play France, although I am now afraid to say. Perhaps it could be... who are France playing?
Sweden.
I don't know.
Perhaps it could be Sweden. Who knows? JJ, I think there's nowhere else to start than with the penalties. Huge drama in the game, such that on the Tifo Football Podcast, we wouldn't normally start with sort of match incidents or penalties, but I don't know that there's anywhere else to begin here.
Well, that's sort of like that theory that I was saying about that person online said that you should start the games by doing penalties at the start.
Right.
So that by the time you get to the end, you know what you have to do.
I'm glad that didn't happen here.
It might have more jeopardy. Yes. I'm still not sure really what happened. I can't speak either.
You're processing.
I feel like it's later than I realised it is, and my brain has stopped.
Can I speak for you?
Yes.
Can I say, I can't recall, I'm sure it's happened, but I can't recall the last time that I saw such a dramatic comeback and then a second falter in a penalty shootout. Because at one stage, Germany had missed 2 before Paraguay had missed at all.
Yeah.
All the pressure was then on. What felt like there would be 2 possible, match point tennis style winning penalties, both of which were missed.
It was like a tennis game. It was like Andy Murray comes from behind every time to try and do it.
It was a little bit like that, wasn't it?
I think it must have been, if you're a Paraguay fan in that crowd, it must have been absolutely gutting when that second one was missed, because you think missing one, you're like, it's okay. There's no need to get too worried about it. You know, this is like when you support teams that aren't that good, you're like, it's never going to happen for us.
But there was total belief. There were people crying in the crowd after Paraguay's third goal in the penalty.
Well, it's like a gift from the universe. Like, they've missed 2. This is insane. We have to. We've been handed this win. We have to take it.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be denying divine intervention.
Goal-scoring opportunity.
Yes.
God so, I believe.
God's so.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, one other thing that we should say was, despite how kind of incredible this is for Paraguay, Kaya, there were a couple of incidents during the game itself.
Yeah.
Again, in uncharacteristic for us here at the Tifo Football Podcast, we usually just usually focus on the game itself, but. The couple of things that were interesting to me here. So, Jonathan Tah's back post headed goal that was ruled out for what was perceived to be a foul on the goalkeeper, which seemed a little bit light. And then as a second, Matthias Galata, I thought could have had a second yellow in extra time for a bit of a cynical foul. Wasn't given. I don't think there was much pondering over it either. But German fans probably will feel a bit hard done by.
Yes, I think so. I think on the watch along we were doing on the earlier on during the game, John kind of pushed me into a corner by saying, as an Arsenal fan, you have to assume that goal deserves to be ruled out. And I agreed with him on the first replay. But on the second replay, you kind of see that Orlando Hill goes down. I don't even think he appeals for it, really. He kind of, him and Anton bump into each other. There's not really that much contact. Even if he's standing up fully, I'm not sure he saves it because it's a point-blank header with real accuracy and power from Jonathan Tah. And it's kind of the only time Germany looked threatening on a set piece. It's the only time they managed to get a free man in the box. And having struggled so hard to break down the Paraguayan low block and having seen so few defensive errors by the Paraguayans, that kind of mistake from Hill, the fact that he kind of got away with it, I'd be really frustrated if I was German. And then with the red cards, I think in the last 5-10 minutes, Jamal Musiala in particular kind of lost his discipline a bit, but also the Paraguayan players lost a lot of theirs. And they were, I mean, I don't know if he lost their discipline, but they were really winding him up as much as possible. It descended into a bit of a crazy
Not
match.
quite a football game.
Exactly. Often these latter stages of extra time do in these World Cup knockouts when there's so much on the line and there's so much pressure. And I thought that could have been a second yellow card. I thought it was a pretty cynical block on the edge of the box, and he was lucky probably to get away with it. But I think
he obviously went on to score one of Paraguay's penalties.
He did, which does make a difference. But I think Paraguay might argue that, it was the 119th minute of the game. Maybe they probably would have gone to penalties anyway and had a chance. But like you say, in the shootout, it was pretty decisive.
Well, John, I'll come to you now because whilst I think, based on those incidents, maybe it would be fair for the German players and for fans to feel a little bit hard done by, they didn't really do enough to win the game in the style that we would have expected during the match itself. Paraguay were very impressive, but Germany really struggled to create, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it's quite easy after a game like this to be like, when you're faced with a low block, you should eventually break it down if you're a good side. I don't know how I feel about that, because I do feel as though, yes, I mean, better sides should make more of an effort to cause problems. And Germany would argue on the basis of the underlying numbers that they probably did enough to deserve that on top of the goal that was disallowed. But I thought that we saw it definitely in the second half that they changed their tactical approach a little bit, and
You noticed the tweak, didn't you?
Yeah, we noticed that they were trying to speed up the game and get the ball into the box quicker from wide, crossing from wide areas. And not only did that obviously generate more opportunities to score, but it also did destabilise the Paraguay block a little bit.
Well, it created the first goal from Kai Havertz, right, and it contributed to the second, I think, as well, didn't it?
The disallowed goal.
The speed of play and the crossing in from deeper.
Yeah, I think it definitely made a difference. And we've been talking this whole tournament about how Germany probably don't have as talented a squad as they have in the past, and as certainly nowhere near the level, I think, of some of the better teams in this tournament. So I suppose you sort of take that as this squad has now been built by Nagelsmann in such a way as to try and get the most out of it.
Yeah.
It makes sense that a team has come along and said the way that this team is going to get the most out of their squad is to play more direct, more I guess more attacking football. So let's sit in and absorb that and see what they can produce against it. And that's why the low block is such a popular tool for underdogs in games of football. So I'm sort of caught between, on the one hand, feeling Germany should probably have done more, but at the same time, sometimes you just don't get things going your way, and you don't generate quite enough to get through. So I don't know whether or not it requires a huge sort of crisis in German football beyond one that should have happened anyway, probably given what we've been talking about so far this tournament.
Well, we're going to come on and talk about that in a moment.
I think Kaya's got something he wanted to say.
No, I was just going to say, I think the fact that you often get a vibe when a team equalises against a low block like that maybe they're going to go on and then it'll become 2-3-4-1.
Yeah.
I never got that feeling at all from Germany at any stage.
Do you not recall, though, that within about 2 minutes of scoring their first goal, they had those two in sequence blocked shots? That felt very much like that was going to immediately be a second goal.
And that's true. I just think when Kai Havertz headed in the equaliser, for example, and we'll get onto the Brazil game later, but when Brazil scored early, I kind of felt that they would go on and get another goal. I know it came very late, but it kind of felt
inevitable.
Exactly. And there was no sense of inevitability to a comeback again for Germany because they'd looked so laboured in the early parts of the game.
You're saying there was a sense of evitability?
There was a sense of evitability. It felt very evitable that they would not go on and score.
Understood. Well, in terms of inevitability, JJ, what about Paraguay? Because while there were some, as we say, antics in extra time, there was perhaps a little bit of fortune. If you are Paraguay meeting Germany in a round of 32 in the knockout stages in the World Cup, you might need a bit of fortune to win. But they did. They played very well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they defended really, really well. They were good on the counter. They were limited by what Germany were doing, especially second half. They pushed up much higher so they could win the ball back earlier if they're trying to counter them. That definitely stopped them being as dangerous in the second half. They're okay. I think Ryan, did you say they were producer Ryan, who's obviously off camera?
He's off mic right now.
Off mic, but he said that they were just above Scotland in the FIFA rankings before the tournament started. So just sort of a bit of like context for where they are, judging by how bad Scotland were.
I'm laughing just because yesterday you promised me that you had other references.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But I'm just trying to frame it because, they looked much better defensively than Scotland did and offered much more of a counter-attack. So I'm thinking of the teams that are around that area. I didn't think, the way they were going to beat Germany was what they did, was by, blocking them out, taking a chance on the counter, being aggressive and passionate, and being they were
very tenacious, weren't they?
Yeah, they're tenacious. And that's the thing. And then it's kind of like how Ecuador beat Germany, is being tenacious and quite aggressive with it and super organised in defence, and then taking your few chances. And Germany, I think should probably have had. I think he probably got the starting lineup wrong. Again, hindsight's really easy to make these decisions, but Musiala being able to link with the 1-2s in the final third is how they unlocked. Who they played in the first game? Germany.
Curacao.
One of the ways they unlocked them was one-touch passes, little triangles so they could combine. So 1-2 touches and just pinging it about first time. That's how they unlocked that block in the first game. And then this game they put Undav on up top rather than Musiala, so they had more of someone looking for chances in the box. I think the theory being you could get the more of the ball into the box earlier, which didn't do until later on in the game, like John says. And so then you're missing that sort of use. And then Kai Havertz was pretty anonymous for most of it. Undav hardly touched the ball. If you'd had Musiala maybe be able to do more of those things. That said, Paraguay were definitely looking out for it, because when he was on the pitch later on, as soon as him or Wirtz were trying to fire the ball, they received the ball wide, they want to fire it inside looking for a one-touch bounce pass to go in, but they were just getting blocked off. Mm-hmm. So they obviously knew exactly what they were doing, and all the threats were, and then Germany were just so slow that they couldn't do anything with it anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, listen, this is not good, I would say, for German football. Producer Ryan reminded me just before the podcast started that this means that Germany have still not won a knockout game at a World Cup finals since they won the final in 2014. So this was through 2018, through 2022, now this as well. Obviously, in both of those prior tournaments, Germany went out in the group stages. Is that right? I think so. Yeah, and making it to the round of 32 here, but not making it past. What do you think, John, this means for German football? What do you think it means for Julian Nagelsmann as well? Because a lot's been said about him. Feels a little bit like maybe he's not going to be the Germany manager for the next World Cup.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he is maybe under pressure to step down, but I don't know. Part of me kind of feels as though there'll be a level of understanding in Germany that he was working with the squad that he was working with. Obviously, this is a disappointing exit, but as you've already said, they lost to Ecuador as well. I don't think anyone was expecting this team to suddenly turn things around and go deep in this tournament. So I guess the question is whether or not the understanding is that it's his responsibility to have turned things around, or whether or not there's an acceptance that
as ever with managers, right?
Yeah, and it's I would personally, I mean, I personally think that Julian Nagelsmann is a great manager. I think even tonight we saw examples of him like finding solutions to problems, and I think that the bigger problem was probably that they didn't have the requisite level of talent to be able to make the changes that they needed to in the game itself.
Can I ask you about him and his career though? Because he stepped out of club football at a really interesting time.
Yeah.
Every time an elite club job becomes available, he's at least mentioned by fans. He's talked about, the speculation from the media that he could be someone to replace them. When before Michael Carrick took the Manchester United job permanently towards the end of the season, we had conversations on this podcast about whether Julian Nagelsmann could be a good pick for Manchester United, for example. But I do wonder about the time that he has spent out of club football while he's been in international football. We've spent a lot of time this year talking about how the quote unquote football meta is changing or has changed. I'm curious if Nagelsmann does leave the German national team and comes back into club football, whether he will have been somewhat left behind, or whether there'll be a need for him to kind of adjust what he's doing.
I disagree. I think that he, of all of the coaches in the international sphere, is probably the one who the football meta suits more than ever. You can make the argument that he was moving in that direction before he went into the international game itself. And it makes sense, right? There's certain aspects of the modern meta which I think you can see in German football before the shift happened that way, right? So a bit more of a direct idea of how to attack, for example, was definitely there. He'd been through the Red Bull school. He'd coached RB Leipzig, and at Leipzig he'd shown an ability to coach both. And we saw it a bit today, right? The ability to coach the more direct, narrower attacking style of German football with a sort of more Spanish influenced Pep Guardiola. Control ball, using width a little bit more. He used both of those in his 2 seasons at Bayern. Used one in one season, then shifted much more to the other. Yeah. So I don't think that there'll be any danger that when he comes back to the domestic game, he won't just slot in.
Would you like to see him back in club football then?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's you're sort of.
If we're saying this German team isn't a kind of vintage team, then doesn't he feel kind of wasted on him?
Yeah, I think so. And there'll be plenty of people who will say that he should have done more, no doubt. But I do think that in the domestic game, he would have much more scope to be able to make those kind of tactical changes with better players and get more out of them. So, I would like to see it.
Okay.
Just add to the counter argument on that Nagelsmann has made big decisions at this World Cup specifically that have kind of backfired. So Neuer wasn't really at fault tonight and made a good penalty save in the shootout, but the decision to bring him back has put a lot of scrutiny around the team. There's been a lot of talk about playing Kimmich at right back, which hasn't really worked, and they've kind of lacked any width, and some of that's not his fault in the sense they've had players like Serge Gnabry missing, and that's been unfortunate. But tonight, for example, it felt like maybe some of the outside noise got to him in the decision to bring Undav into the starting 11 and not have him as a player off the bench, because as JJ outlined earlier, Musiala was kind of the player who would have been good for breaking down this low block, and it's easy to be wise after the fact, but it kind of felt like he's had a lot of pressure on him this tournament, and maybe there's been some signs showing that it's affected him, particularly in his responses to post-match media. I think Seb wrote a really good piece on the news site about how after they beat Ivory Coast to qualify, that he'd responded to criticism that maybe the players wouldn't give their all in the third game, or maybe they'd take their foot off the gas a bit. And he'd responded quite negatively to that. And then the players straight after the game were saying that Ecuador wanted it more. So I think German fans maybe will have a perception of Nagelsmann that he's made some mistakes, and I think that's kind of fair based on what's happened this tournament.
It's very interesting with his career, I think, also because he's so sort of firmly rated as one of the world's most elite coaches. He's had he's been a manager now for 10 years, I think, right? He was very young. He was 29 when he started at Hoffenheim. He was there for 3 years. He was at Leipzig for a couple of years. He obviously went to Bayern Munich. It's the biggest job one of the biggest jobs in football, the biggest job in club football in Germany. There was an awful lot written about his time there, and a lot of that was about the kind of cultural fit. We talked about it earlier on the watch along about him, the clothes that he wore arriving on the longboard, it not necessarily suiting some of German football press. And he's been at Germany now for 3 years, but not to say that he hasn't proved his the authority that he's often given. But he is someone for whom I feel in my head I recognise that he's rated incredibly highly, but yet I'm yet to kind of feel as though he's really claimed that at an elite club.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would push back with a couple of things. One being that Nagelsmann was replaced by Thomas Tuchel at Bayern, right, eventually. And Tuchel managed to not win the league in his season at Bayern with the same sort of rough squad, right?
Yeah.
So Nagelsmann, it wasn't that it was just entirely down to him. There's also, and Tuchel, no one is questioning Tuchel's credentials off the back of that. The other thing is, I think that there are arguments to be made that, from a personality point of view, that sometimes he is a little bit naive potentially. But then I think the criticisms of who he chose in the squad. The counter argument is always just, well, who else would you take? Like, should Sane have been playing? Yeah, well, then who are you playing? Leveling. Like, leveling isn't exactly a game changer either. Kimmich at right back, who are you playing instead of Kimmich? Neuer, maybe a younger goalkeeper.
Neuer at right back. I think that's a very bold decision, but mistake personally.
Yeah, so for me, it's a sort of tough one because I do feel as though there's not a huge amount you can do with that set of players.
Yeah.
And I also kind of feel like, as we said during the live stream, there are players in that squad who even a couple of seasons ago are much more highly rated and things have happened, right? So Wirtz had a poor season in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Musiala had an injury, which is basically meant he's lost that sort of star quality that he had. They've lost a bunch of players that we talked about in your sort of Toni Krooses and your Thomas Mullers and players like that. And it feels like the next wave of young players haven't been anywhere near the level. And again, it's the same thing that the arguments about what happens with Scotland. And you actually look at some of the material conditions for like why development hasn't happened in these places. And I think a lot of that is down to for example, the Premier League. The Premier League has taken a lot of talent from Germany and I think there's plenty of arguments to be made that there are knock-on effects for that on the wider infrastructure of the German game as well. So I don't know. Part of me kind of feels like he's, for all the valid criticisms, and they are valid criticisms there, I do think there's a lot of other things that are going on which are just entirely out of his control. And
sure.
And I kind of want to see him come back precisely because I want to feel the way that you do, that actually we're seeing a Nagelsmann who has justified his place in people's
Where do you want
opinions. Him to go? I don't know, but like you say, the Bayern job was kind of messy and it just sort of felt at the wrong time, and it's almost like he wanted to get away from that scrutiny by going into a bit more of a slower paced international club. But I'd like to see him. Yeah, I guess there's been a narrowing down of like places now for top coaches to go, right? With maybe Serie A not feeling at quite the high level that it used to.
Although I'd love to see him in Serie A still. I think that feels
for
like
sure.
that would be quite fun for a few years.
Yeah, and again, like in Germany, it's like Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
In France, it's like PSG. They both have coaches who've been there for a while now and are pretty much ensconced there.
Successful.
And then it leaves you with like, at the moment in the Premier League, the big six have all got new coaches, and so maybe he'll wait around to see what happens there. And Real Madrid, maybe Real Madrid is the one that there could be a change this season. But I don't know. I'd like to see him. I don't know. I'd like to see him doing a job where I feel as though he wasn't just being judged on like external things all the time. Because it feels to me like it always does come down to people don't like his manner or people don't like his style. And it would be nice for him to go to a club where he's just given the chance to give it a good go for a few seasons, and we could see how good.
Not sure Real Madrid would be the perfect one.
Yeah, no, exactly. Real Madrid really isn't the place for him to go in that respect.
It feels quite Chelsea to me.
Yeah,
I know why you say that.
A while, yeah.
I know why you say that. Anything else anyone would like to say on Germany, Paraguay before we move on?
Just a little bit further credit for Paraguay.
Mm-hmm.
There was a really, really impressive, gritty, disciplined defensive performance with key players missing. So Diego Gomez, who Premier League fans will know from Brighton, was suspended. Julio Enciso went off injured in the second half. Omar Alderete, who's one of their better centre-backs, was out. And the guy who scored the winning penalty, whose name has escaped me now, Canale.
Yeah, Canale.
He was fantastic, and that was his full international debut. He'd never played a full match. So
was it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Really, really strong performance. And their manager has managed to eke the maximum out of the squad, and that potential has been realised. And they did well to get out of the group stages. Many people didn't think they'd get out the group stages. So to get to round 16, hats off to them. It's really impressive.
I watched a bit of Paraguay in prep for the World Cup, and I thought they were not good at all. And so I am very surprised that we managed to get through.
I think a nice segue as well with Paraguay is that I feel as though that game kind of went the same way as the Brazil-Japan game, and Paraguay learned from the mistake that Japan made and fixed things a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that, again, it's a kind of praise to Paraguay for actually, it's so tempting in those scenarios to drop deeper when you go a goal up and just absorb pressure and then eventually give up a fairly easy crosses into the box, to then come out and be like, we're gonna decompress a little bit more, we're gonna be a bit braver, we're gonna allow space to open out, but make it harder for the opposition to do something. I feel as though that's something that the Japan just weren't able to do in their game against Brazil, and eventually it came back to bite them.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's always painful, isn't it, when players miss penalties in a World Cup final. This is to Voltemade, Jonathan Tah, and of course, who was the other? Kai Havertz?
Yes.
You're in a brotherhood of pain now. But there are plenty of colleagues and peers also in that brotherhood.
I feel in a brotherhood of pain right now with my sunburn.
You're in a brotherhood of pain. Yeah. With your other sunburnt friends.
Yeah,
Did any of them get sunburnt?
No, just me.
No, just you. You're not in a brotherhood then. You are alone in a silo of pain.
Plowing a lone pink furrow right now. Yeah.
There
He's a
you go.
solo brother.
He's a solo brother, exactly. Now, let's have an advertisement break. Yes, what a delightful break that was. Now, who wants to play Rondo?
Yes.
Yes?
Me,
Okay.
please.
Now, JJ, I love that energy because I really feel that now you've had a taste of success with the Rondo, and it wasn't asterisked. Remember, we agreed that it wasn't asterisked. Now you've had a taste of that success. You surely want some more, don't you?
Absolutely, I do.
What did it taste like? If you had to give a flavour to that kind of victory.
Hula hoops.
Yeah.
Very
hula hoops.
regional flavour of hula hoops, though, in my opinion.
A regional flavour of hula hoops. How about that? Now, here is how the Rondo works. I ask these guys a question that has multiple correct answers. We go round in a circle. They give me correct answers. If they give me an incorrect answer, they are ejected from the Rondo. If they dither or dilly or dally or I don't like their attitude, I'll eject them from the Rondo myself. And by the way, the most crucial rule that I feel I need to intersect into this intro now is that if you give me an answer that's already been given, that counts as an incorrect answer. It's often the way that players exit the Rondo. Now, what is the category for today? Well, countries that have reached a FIFA Men's World Cup semi-final or Final Four, as there were no semi-finals in 1950, 1974 and 1978. There are 25 correct answers here in total, including countries that no longer exist. Okay? Now, obviously...
What were the years when there was...
1950, 1974 and 1978.
There was no semi-final.
There were no semi-finals. There were Final Fours. I don't know. Producer Ryan prepared the Rondo.
Okay.
He just says it was like a final round. Who knows? Anyway, there we go. The point here is there are 25 correct answers. There are obviously answers. I'll give you what Germany, for example, who obviously have reached the semi-final because they've won it. They have reached 13 semi-finals. That's your first answer, correct? Well done, John. But that only counts as one correct answer. Okay, it's not individual instances. It is just countries. You can only use them once. Germany, John? Yes. Kaya, over to you.
Including West Germany with that.
Yes.
England.
England, of course. They've done it 3 times. JJ?
Do you mean West Germany are the same as Germany?
Mm-hmm.
So that you can't have West Germany because Germany's done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what you mean. Okay. Croatia.
Croatia have, of course. They've done it 3 times as well. Well done. Back to you, John. Italy are here. They've done it 8 times.
Turkey.
Turkey? Oh, yeah, just the once.
Yeah.
In 2002. JJ?
France.
France, of course, France have done it because they've won. France have done it 7 times.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil have done it 11 times. I think that's the most. Well done.
Morocco.
Morocco? Yeah, just the once in 2022. JJ?
Argentina.
Argentina have done it 6 times. They're the most remaining times for a remaining team. John?
Spain.
Spain, of course, twice, 1950 and 2010.
Croatia.
Croatia have
Said
already
that.
been said.
Oh,
You said it.
And this is like,
You said it.
I said it.
No, JJ said it. I even included that rule at the beginning today. Kaya,
God.
you are
I was
sunburned.
too busy being smug about Turkey. I was like, should I use that now or should I
how
use it
about
later?
that? You're out. Okay, JJ,
Oh, fuck.
back to you.
Netherlands.
Netherlands, of course, 5 times. Well done. Back to
Portugal.
Portugal, yep. Can you wait for me to say back to you? Because you just keep answering at the same time I'm about to say. Back to you, John.
Okay,
you say a
I'll
country
definitely
name.
do that.
Let's practice. Back
Yeah.
to you.
Portugal.
Yes, well done, of course. I know you were tempted to pause for longer there, so I appreciate that you didn't. Thank you. You have my gratitude. JJ.
Uruguay must have played in one.
Uruguay have been in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, they won it in 1930,
Yeah.
but they've been in it 4 more times.
Okay.
Back to you, John. Oh, the first significant pause. I can tell you
Is it?
that you know all of these countries, and there are 12 left.
12 of them.
There are 12 left.
Jingle jangles.
Would it help you if I...
That's we. Is that what? Japan?
Sorry, I wasn't trying to trick you into saying Japan. I just wondered if it would help you if I sing a fun little song at you.
No,
it's not a clue. Back to you. I feel like
Didn't South Korea get to one?
you're taking a little bit of time here. Would you like to submit that as a guess?
No, because you would have said yes if it was.
No, I wouldn't, because you didn't submit it as an answer. If
South
you-
Korea.
Yes, it is. 2002, of course they did. But on home soil, of course. Or I guess they could have played that game in Japan. I don't know. I was going to ask you, Kai, but I forgot that you're out. Miserable
Thanks,
failure.
man.
JJ, back to you.
I'm trying to remember all the countries of the world because there's lots.
I'll give you want a little clue?
Yes.
There's a country that have been a little bit braggadocious about that one time that they made it back in 1930. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Would you like an even bigger clue?
Yeah.
No,
Hey.
don't say more than that.
once before. Hey, don't forget about 1930.
The way you say "hey" sounds so Eastern European there.
The USA.
Yeah, the USA
Yeah.
made it to the semi-finals in 1930 because I think there were only 3 teams in the whole tournament. I'm just kidding, USA. I'm just kidding. I'm just joshing with you there, USA. John? That was quite a big clue I gave JJ, so I'll help you out with one as
Yeah,
well.
that's only fair.
Of
No more
course,
Can I provide him with a clue?
remember, we said countries that no longer exist are still
Yeah,
included.
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia made it twice. Absolutely correct.
That's what I was going to go for.
Okay, back to you, JJ.
Okay, I can't think of any, so I'll go with the USSR.
The Soviet Union, yeah, they were there. 1966, they made it. Absolutely. John, back to
I was
you.
going to go for them.
There are 8 remaining countries, and there is a country here that no longer exists.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? I'm just making the noise that filled the silence and reflected the face that you were making. Huh?
This is difficult now.
Very quiet.
Ah.
You're very quiet.
I'm not thinking what you said because it's going to just derail me. into
Okay,
thinking my
yeah,
country
fair
don't
enough.
exist anymore. But,
Fair enough.
There must be an African country in there that went deep. What about?
I don't think so. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
What about Colombia?
Colombia are not there. Okay, JJ, you have the chance to win a totally un-asterisked rondo,
you got-
except, of course,
gave
I
him a
really
clue.
gave you that massive clue. But that's mainly because I wanted to do an American accent. Now, JJ, what I'm looking for here is one more country of the world that have made it to a semi-final or Final Four. Final Four.
I'm going to go with Mexico.
Oh, no. No, they're out. And I retain it. I am Rondo del Reteno. That's me.
Mexico finally famously talk about the Partido Quintero. Is that what it's called?
I don't know what you're talking
Which is the
about.
5th game because they never get past the 5th
They
game.
never get
It's
past
like
the 5th
the
game.
quarterfinals.
And this time, that 5th game is could be against England, huh?
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Right, now, here are the countries that you could have had. And remember, I don't like shouting out.
So annoyed.
So you can shout out.
Can
Kai.
I-
You can shout
Can
out
I
because
keep
you went
going
out so
until I
early.
get one wrong?
You absolutely can.
All right, Bulgaria,
Yeah, Bulgaria were there 1994.
Sweden,
Sweden were there 4 times. Yeah.
Czechoslovakia,
Yes, that's the country that no longer exists.
Ah, of course.
Hungary.
Hungary were there. Yes, they absolutely were.
Oh, yeah.
In North Korea, it went really deep in 1966.
No,
but I think
they
it was
got
only
to a
quarterfinals.
semi-final.
quarters. Yeah.
Not to. They went to the
Um,
quarterfinals, but not a semi-final.
Yeah.
There's 4 remaining.
4 remaining.
We had an incorrect South American sea
there's
country,
another one.
but there's a correct South American
Chile.
sea country.
Chile.
It's Chile.
I nearly said Chile, but I was like,
Me
I
too,
can't
they were-
remember. I can't remember them ever being that good.
Have
Well, they were that good in 1966, 1962.
Switzerland ever made it?
No, you're wrong. Okay, Poland, Belgium, of course, Belgium.
I nearly said Belgium as
And
Poland.
Austria.
well.
Austria, twice in 1934 and 1954 when they had Nandor Hiraguchi. No, wait, he played for a different team.
Was he
Who did he play for?
Hungary?
Oh, Hungary.
Yeah.
He was Hungarian. Who was the Austrian guy? Was it Sindelar? Was he
Sindelar.
Austrian?
Sindelar, yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of. There we go. What a successful rondo. Me, Rondo del Reteno. Okay, there we go. I really enjoyed that. Now, what are we talking about? Oh, yes, of course. The earlier game in the day, what feels now like 100 hours ago. We were here in the office. We weren't live. We were watching it before the live stream. It was Brazil 2. 1 Japan, otherwise known as the perfect prediction points a bad game for old Joe Devine over here. I'm very tired. Brazil came from behind to beat Japan in a thrilling 2026 World Cup knockout clash. Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli scored a 96th minute winner when he wasn't time wasting. Brazil will either face Ivory Coast or Norway in New York on July the 5th. That was just a little joke about the time.
I was so ready to say that's a Right Steve intro, and then you chuck that in at the end as a little jump scare.
No, yes, of course, Brazil will, as I said, will either face Ivory Coast or Norway in New York on July the 5th. Now, this was a fun game, wasn't it, JJ? Do you remember this one?
No.
No, I forgot. You were completing your corporate training during the game. I forgot about that. Okay.
I was sitting there watching it. I do remember some things.
Listen, what I will say is that you don't remember the game that well, but you're very up to date on all of the best practices and ways to behave.
I haven't done any. I haven't committed any crimes.
There it is. There you
I
go.
won't be
Hey,
specific.
Kaya, you remember this one, didn't you? No, you walked in halfway through. Hey, John,
Yeah.
I'm back with you. You
I
enjoyed
watched
this game?
this one.
Yeah,
it was
good game.
Good game.
Yeah.
I think everyone was quite excited about Japan, but as I've already teasered
Yeah.
in the previous section,
You teased.
so they went a goal up, and then I think they became too passive.
Right.
They were just allowing Brazil.
I like the idea of them becoming a character too passive. That's the name of the character. I am now too passive.
Yes, but I feel as though
Sorry, go.
I'm too tired to be able to think on my feet.
Yeah,
as
you
to how
can't
to
you can't
respond
riff
to
with
that.
the character of too passive. That's
pretty hard,
It's
isn't it?
it's a sort of a corridor with no exit. What were you saying about Japan?
But yeah, I think one of the things that this Brazil team have struggled to do is progress the ball sustainably.
Yeah.
And I think that once Japan went a goal up, which they did really nicely through Sano, and it was one of those situations that we talked about where Brazil actually quite open from an out of possession perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Danilo plays a wry pass,
Very wry, wasn't it?
and then it was Sano could just ghost past Casemiro midfield, took a nice shot from distance, and that was 1-0. But then I think from that point onwards, they just compressed too much.
Yeah.
They just got too tight. They allowed Brazil to move the ball down the field and do what we saw Germany doing, right, which is swinging in crosses.
Yeah.
One of which eventually came from Gabriel to the forehead of Casemiro, and it was 1-1.
Lovely header at the back post there. Two set-piece legends of the Premier League season combining for a lovely open play-headed goal.
Yeah, of course.
Also worth saying, Kaya, that if you have Vinicius Jr. on your team, despite him not actually scoring in this game, I think you can kind of unlock. Germany looked like they could have used him in this most recent game.
Yeah, definitely. That's the individual level of quality that you could definitely say Germany lacked. And
Another black mark against Nagelsmann as well for not taking Vinicius.
not having Vinicius
no.
Jr.
What an idiot.
looked into the grandparents, I think. But the run that Vinicius did to create what would have been, I think, the goal of the tournament, and arguably a Puskás Award contender.
Yeah.
And then Suzuki saves it amazingly with both sort of just
Very
reaching
good
out fingertip to it. Yeah, Vinny Jr. has been one of the players of the tournament, and like we've been saying all along, it's kind of been a theme that a lot of the big dogs have all turned up, and Vinny Jr. is certainly one of those, and I think he's been really impressive. And yeah, like you say, he wasn't massively involved, but when you've got that level of kind of star quality, then Brazil, despite not looking great yet again, I don't think you can write them off easily. And I think there'll be teams who'll be looking at Brazil and thinking, wow, their midfield is still Casemiro, who's not looked particularly impressive, but still popping up with important goals. And then if he goes off, Fabinho comes on. But they seem to be getting through and getting results. And Ancelotti made some tweaks in the second half, which I think helped as well.
Yeah.
He's also another individual quality that they've got. So, yeah, they're very difficult to rule out, but they still haven't looked convincing at all this tournament.
Japan will be very sad, obviously, because they've lost, which is the opposite of what they wanted to achieve.
They were very sad on the pitch afterwards.
Yeah, well, they should be, because they're a good team, and I thought they could do quite well in this World Cup. It's, of course, when you play a team like Brazil, it's always very, very hard. But I don't think they played anywhere near like what they can do.
No.
I think I'd need to watch it again, and I'm not going to do that to work out what Brazil did to maybe stop them doing that. I think John's right in that they dropped back and were maybe too passive. I can't tell that's because it was by choice or because they were Maybe, I don't know.
They were forced to for some reason.
Yeah, that, or they're just
It's
nervous.
It's been a criticism of the Japan manager before that they do become quite passive in these sorts of big games.
Right. I mean, because in the second half, Ancelotti took off Cunha, who was doing minus defending, and put on Endrick through the middle. And it's a weird, funny story with Endrick because Ancelotti's never really spoken well of him at all. And so for him to get 45 minutes is interesting in itself. But he comes on and does a lot more running and helps more, I think, to try and help prevent Japan counter-attacking against them. I think that's probably one of the reasons that they did that. And then later in the game, in the fourth quarter, we're calling that now, Ancelotti's got the tactics board, and I can see he's focusing loads of players out wide, like either side. He's trying to get like a wide triangle on each side. Vinicius is pulled far further to the wide left. He puts Martinelli on as another winger playing through the middle, but he's also out on the left. So they've got Vinicius can do more with it, and he was much better in the second half as well, able to do far more. And yeah,
Vinicius always looks a lot better to me when he is able to pick up speed when he's got the ball at his feet.
they're getting to him early so that he could then run with it and go towards him, so he's at full speed.
Yeah, they've been using him quite central, right? This World Cup for a number of reasons, but. And I think he is obviously dangerous in those situations as well. But like, I think once he gets into his flow state in the wide area and he can make those out to in runs, when he can arrive at those fullbacks at speed, and then you have the big question, which is what do you do with your centre back in behind the fullback, right? And that's kind of what the Martinelli position was all about. It was like pinning that centre back and being like, okay, what do you do in these scenarios? Because you can't just go 1v1 against him because he will go round you one way or the other.
Yeah.
You've probably got to double up on him. If you're doing that, then what happens with Martinelli? And obviously that was what happened for the winner as well.
In my head, they've not watched it now, but I think Martinelli scores it from exactly where he would normally go as a left winger, while Vinicius is out wide left as a winger at exactly the same time when it goes in. That might be completely wrong, but in my head, that's exactly what it was from watching it.
Well, it's a bit unfortunate for Japan in some ways, isn't it? They've qualified from the group stages at the last 3 World Cups. They're a very good team. I feel as though they were one of the more exciting teams that we've watched so far this tournament. Unlucky to draw Brazil in the round of 32. I think it was one of the least favourable draws that they could have had. Brazil, on the other hand, as we said, will go through to the round of 16 where they will face either Ivory Coast or Norway. I'm particularly excited about the possibility of a clash with Norway because, of course, that means that we get the Premier League's best striker v centre-back battle of all season. Gabriel versus Erling Haaland. Should Norway not rest him again, hopefully?
I assumed there was some sort of snarky joke about Gabriel coming in.
I thought you were going to make a joke about Victor Gyökeres.
I said it was the best battle. I didn't say it was the best centre-back.
Okay. I think you said best centre-back.
No, I said the best.
He said the best
centre-back striker battle.
Yeah, he did.
I said.
Right. Okay.
Just to be clear, Kaya, I didn't say that Gabriel is the Premier League's best centre-back. I did not say
They're
it.
so precious, aren't they? Like everything you say, you have to tiptoe around them all the time. It's like,
perfect
you
thing.
didn't give us enough.
You can say it outright.
Didn't give us enough praise for our final. Eventually, we won the Premier League. Oh, great!
Because everyone else stacks it.
You didn't give us enough praise for that, though.
You didn't say it was beautiful enough the way we did it.
I found it
You
quite
didn't
pretty.
say it was clever to do it with corners.
Yeah, well, you like the corners now, don't you?
I love the corners now.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board. I love the Arsenal revolution, and I like the idea of Gabriel and Haaland getting to
Yeah,
play
that's
each
what you
other
were
in a
asking
round
me. I
of
forgot
16
about that.
tie.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was as
Before you got
red as my
tilted.
face with fury there. Yeah, Gabriel versus Haaland has been fantastic in the Premier League, and I remember in that.
Bring it to America.
Yeah, bring it to America. I remember the Premier League clash where Gabriel arguably could have been and should have been sent off.
Yeah.
Their duel throughout that entire day when Arsenal played Man City was amazing, and they always have fantastic battles. I think Gabriel has looked good in this tournament, and him and Marquinhos is a formidable partnership for Brazil. That's another place where they have really good individual quality. But then Haaland has looked really good, and he's looked so kind of his Premier League best in the Norway team. And Norway aren't going to, I think, defend. I don't think that's a way they can go into this game. They can't low block it in the way we saw Paraguay do it. I just don't think they've got the quality to do that.
They can outscore them.
They're going to have to try, which I
Absolutely.
think, presuming they get past the Ivory Coast, who are a very good team,
Very good team.
I think that would be a really, really fun game to watch.
It
Those
would be
two going at it,
exciting.
I think it'd be a really, really
Do you know where it is as well?
I don't.
It's in New York City.
Very nice. Start spreading the news.
Yes, exactly. Now, of course, now we've said that, Ivory Coast will definitely qualify,
Yeah.
and that will
Yeah.
also be a fun
Well,
game.
that Nicolas Pepe versus Danilo battle, that's
Just
talk about Arsenal Man City battle there.
Two
Whoa.
Premier League players
Yeah,
from
two
a
Premier
long
League
time
greats.
ago.
That's right. And of course, you can't spell formidable without mid. Now, South Africa 0, 1 Canada. This was the game that happened yesterday, although as I speak, it was 2 days ago. I'm very tired. Canada won a World Cup knockout match for the first time and are through to the last 16. Eustachio broke the deadlock in injury time in a game Canada had dominated, but appeared destined for extra time. Canada will now take on either the Netherlands or Morocco on Saturday in Houston. I thought when I wrote that it would be much further in advance. I wouldn't know anywhere. I wouldn't be anywhere close to knowing the scoreline of that game. That game starts in 30 minutes, by the way. John, were Canada good for it? I mean, it's the furthest they've ever got. Fantastic for the nation. Fantastic for the team. Sounded like they were. I didn't watch this one, but it sounded like they were good for it in the game.
Yeah, I guess worth remembering that we expected South Korea to go through in this slot, and it ended up being South Africa. I thought, Canada were good for it. They put up way more chances, better quality chances than South Africa, and they did the Jesse Marsch thing of playing a high block rather than a high press, and we've one of the earliest narratives again. It feels 2 days ago since this game happened.
Yeah.
Who remembers the first game of the tournament when Sitole lost the ball and Mexico were able to score from it?
Oh, good. Many years ago.
Yeah. So this, as we've talked about South Africa a lot, this tournament as being a really unique team insofar as they actually have a team full of players from the top teams in South Africa, and as a result, they try and play football in the sense of trying to possess the ball, try and build it through the thirds, and progress the ball in that way. And at times it can go wrong. So I think Canada did a really good job of playing to that kind of condition and almost opening up these pressing traps to try and cause them problems when they were trying to build down the field. And they had a lot of chances. In the end, it ended up being a really nice goal from Stefan Eustachio from the edge of the box at a point in time when it just felt as though extra time was inevitable. It was nice for him. He's been a stalwart for this Canada team. He's probably their best player. So it was really nice to see him scoring, and it was nice to see Canada going through. It's always nice to see a team excel what they've done previously with hard work, and a lot of that goes down to Jesse Marsch as well, has taken a group of players and got the most out of them. It feels like a play style that really suits the players that they have. So yeah, it would be nice to see how they perform in the round of 16, and congratulations to them.
Yeah, well, it's also worth saying, some a little bit of praise here for South Africa, but also praise for African teams on the whole. Of 10 that qualified for the World Cup, 9 actually made it through the group stages. Yeah,
and there's been a lot of people complaining about the extended slots in this World Cup, it going from 32 to 48 teams. Complaints about the quality of teams that are going to be introduced, and I think before the tournament, I've always been quite positive about this for a number of reasons. One of which is, if you want smaller nations to get better at football, one way of doing that is to make it more realistic that they can get into the tournament in the first place. It's a lot easier for you to overcome the infrastructure problems you might have in your country from a football development point of view when you can make an argument to the people who are in charge of budgets in your country that there's a feasible chance that you could get there.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that they've extended the World Cup for that, from that point of view, right? And we've talked about this before, right? There's plenty of downsides to what FIFA are doing with the World Cup. There's plenty of ways of looking at it and being cynical. But there are unintended consequences that are actually quite good as well. And I think this is one of the unintended consequences. So there's been a lot of people who've complained about the smaller nations getting through. Obviously, Africa were one of the beneficiary continents for getting more teams in. And they've absolutely proven that you shouldn't necessarily worry about the perceived quality of the teams going in there, because 9 of those 10 teams now have made their way through. And South Africa, I think, were, again, we've already talked about them being a fairly unique country in that respect from a footballing perspective. And I think it's clear that they were well worth their place there. They fought hard, they played hard, they played well, and they went out there and tried to play good football. And it was good to see them in the round of 32. So yeah, it would be nice to see a few of these African teams going really deep in this tournament.
Worth saying, I'm throwing this to you without having mentioned to you before the podcast, but I'm bargaining, Kaya, on the fact that you will remember that we covered this in a Tifo script not that long ago. But you recall, of course, that Africa as a continent boycotted the 1966 World Cup, right?
Yes. I do remember this. I didn't write this one. This is a Jonathan Wilson script, but I remember editing it. And there was circumstances around it I am trying to recall with a bit more specificity. I'm sorry. But,
no, that's fine.
I know
it's
that Syria
late
boycotted in solidarity with them. I remember that bit.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Go back and watch the video. Sorry, Joe.
Don't worry. I get the reason I'm pointing that out is to say that, like, relative to Europe, for example, who had like a kind of rich and lengthy history for reasons, all related to colonizing the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's not just like great for football that 9 of the 10 African countries qualified through the group stages. Like, it's a good thing that would have happened much earlier had it not been for institutional racism, essentially.
Yeah, and also a lot of those African countries started gaining independence in the 50s and 60s and 70s, which is something they've had to catch up a bit in that sense, but they're doing really well in this tournament, and I think it's really good to see.
Absolutely. Now, just very briefly on Canada, Netherlands or Morocco, it's a difficult game either way.
Should we watch it now?
Yeah, you want to stick it on now? We've got 27 minutes until that game starts.
I want to watch it.
I want to watch it.
I'm going to get home and watch it.
I was hoping to be home to watch it too. Let's have a quick advertisement break, and when we come back, we'll speed through Points Are Bad, and then we'll get to the 6th instalment of the second-hand eBay game. Okie dokie. Time for a little Points Are Bad update now. Things not going so well for me. John, remember when we were touching scores just a few days ago?
No.
You don't remember that? A few days back, it was I was first about 5 days ago.
Really?
Yeah. Do you not remember that?
No memory.
It's just so disrespectful that you don't recall that. Are you being serious?
Yeah, I thought I was ahead the whole time.
Did you really think that?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm actually thrown completely.
Sorry, I didn't realise.
You didn't feel the level of competition that I was bringing when I was ahead of
I certainly don't feel it now.
Well, no, you
I believe
shouldn't
you're
feel
a
it
long
now,
way
but-
away from me now.
I can't believe the manner in which you...
Maybe it was a show I wasn't on. That's why I didn't really make that.
Maybe. Well, let me tell you, about 5
really
days
sorry,
ago,
John.
I was ahead of you.
That's really impressive.
Okay, and now... I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
I didn't know what I'm supposed to say here. I didn't remember
Just say, yeah, I remember it was a tough battle.
Yeah, it was
I'm pulling away.
Yeah,
You
it was
know?
a tough battle, and
It means something to me to play.
I
There's
just
stakes
wanted
here.
it more, so I picked better scores.
This
and
is the
here we are.
hardest it's been not to swear on these live. And I swear to God. Now, you're 19 points ahead of me now. It's a real
19?
shame. Yeah, I'm not even
Did you know
second
5
anymore.
days ago we were touching scores?
Kaya
Do you
is
not
now-
remember that?
Kaya is now in second place with 160. This is what they mean when they say the Goblin King emerges after midnight.
Yeah.
Kaya's on 166
Where am I?
points. You're in last place on 191. You've really sort of stretched out there. You're sort of a good 23 points behind third place.
Well, I better start making some bold decisions now to try and get back in.
I think you've been doing that for the last week. I think that's why you're extending. Never mind. Anyway,
Has Kaya overtaken you?
Kaya's overtaken me. He's on
I'm on the march,
166 points. John, you're on 149. Okay, so it's yours to lose. And if you want, you could just start picking the scores that are closest to the. Oh,
I'm just going to make. I'm going to make a mental.
I'm going to make a
memory.
mental too. Now,
A mental memory.
The order of
That
picking.
Kai was only 11 points away from me at this point. Is that 11 points?
No,
Is it
it's more than that.
17 points.
It's 17 points.
17 points. I remember that so as to not show you disrespect when.
Please.
Deep respect.
Deep respect.
I think you should
not
just
show me deep
I think my brain has stopped
talking.
working.
Yeah, stop talking now, okay? Now, the order of today's pickers is based purely on one game. It was one game from yesterday, which Kaya, congratulations, you got a perfect score.
Wow.
Yeah.
For Canada, South Africa, predicting the 1-0 outcome. JJ, you and I added 2 points each with a 2-1 either way. John, you added 1 point. So, JJ, because you are last
What
over...
about the game that's just happened? Does that not count in that?
No, it doesn't count. We do it based on days.
Oh,
And
okay.
don't interrupt me again, okay? Because it's going to be hard to get through this anyway.
Really?
I'll explain any questions you have. You don't care. You didn't even know that
Oh,
5
really?
days ago I was ahead of you.
I'm suddenly really interested in
Oh yeah, now you're really
finer
far
points
ahead.
of,
Okay, fine. So based on you're behind me overall, JJ. So despite the fact that we shared points for yesterday, you get to pick first for the games that happen on Tuesday. Okay, and what I'm first looking for from you is a prediction for Ivory Coast, Norway.
2-5.
You think 2-5?
I can make some bold choices.
All right. Next up is me picking for that game. So I do think. Oh, do you know? I'm really tempted to say Ivory Coast. Actually, they've got a good team,
They are good, yeah.
but I'm going to. Oh.
I think pick one.
No,
and
do you
move
know what?
on.
I'm going to say 2-1 to Ivory Coast. That's what I'm going to
Lovely.
do. John, it's to you now.
2-1 Norway.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the other one I would have taken. And Kaya?
That's the one I would have taken.
It's the one
let's
everyone
go
wants.
for.
There's going to be more goals than that.
Do you think?
Yeah, almost.
Do you think there'll
Get
be
in my head
7
by trying
goals?
to sort of
I reckon
plant
it's going to be like
predictions into my
4-3
head.
probably.
Really? You think it's going to
Yeah,
be
I think-
8-7 to Norway?
Yeah, potentially.
I will say 3-1 Norway.
How many Arsenal players are playing?
3-1 Norway. Okay.
Odegaard?
Odegaard.
I'm loving the
Is that it?
banter, but there really isn't time. Now,
France, Sweden.
okay, France, Sweden, JJ?
5-2.
Yep, I like it. Okay. Here, I'm going to say a good 3-0. That's the most France scoreline you can have, John.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Watch him now say 2-0 France.
4-0 France.
There you go. Still one away. And Kaya?
3-1 France.
Three.
Actually, can I change
3-1.
mine to 4-1?
No, you can't. It's locked in already. Okay, Mexico, Ecuador is the last one. Yeah, you can. You want 4-1? I'll give it to you. Okay. JJ, Mexico, Ecuador. Now, I hasten you. I think you shouldn't add
I
many
reckon this
goals
could
to
be
this.
5-2.
I think this is not going to be 5-2.
0-0.
I think that's an excellent score, and I'm actually going to say 1-0 to Ecuador in this game. John?
2-1 Ecuador.
2-1. Oh, we all think Ecuador. Kai, what about you?
Let's go 1-0 Mexico then.
Yep, I think that's good. All right, there we go. So, yes, as I said, that's the overall scores. That's where we are at right now. I can tell you, as of today, I got a perfect score in the Brazil-Japan game, and I only added 1 on Germany-Paraguay. So when we'll see the outcome of Netherlands-Morocco, it might be me picking last tomorrow. Whereas, JJ, the rest of you are all even. You've all added quite many points so far.
Did I put like a 7-0 in and I was quite close?
You
Was that,
put 7-0 in for Argentina, Jordan, and you were not close. You added 5 points on that one. Yeah. And just to wrap up here as well, Kaya, you got Argentina, Jordan, perfect.
Oh,
John, you got Croatia, Ghana, perfect.
Oh.
And those were the only perfect predictions of yesterday. And that was points are bad. Okay, let us move on to the main headline event of today's Tifo Football Podcast. It is the second-hand eBay Challenge. Okay. Now, as you will recall, the scores as it stands after 5 rounds, 1 was thrown out for cheating or irregularities found in both contestants' submissions. John has won 3, JJ has won 1, and this is installment number 6. So, John, you're sort of like trying to.
Well, I got told
patiently
off for
unwrap.
taking too long with the last one.
And so today, did you unwrap in advance?
I've just got myself started.
Okay. Would you like to start?
Yes. What's the category, Joe?
Well, the category is as follows. Long pause. Slightly longer pause than I want. Round 6. Here we go. This is the football history category. Now, the first thing to say here is that the amounts of money that we've given you to spend are starting to really get out of control now. You both had £100 to spend on round 6, the football history round. The instruction was as follows. Buy something with real football historical value. So, for example, you said a program, a ticket, a magazine, newspaper, for example. So, John, what have you done with that?
So, what I have spent my money on, I'm hoping this is going to work. Do you want to guess what this is?
Is that a seat?
This is a
Is it a seat back?
from where?
Is it from Goodison Park? Oh, wow.
This is the back of a
Are you
seat.
mildly impressed that I guessed that? by
I'm
the way?
impressed,
Come
yeah.
on.
It's definitely a seat back. from
Definitely.
Goodison
You know
Park.
that for sure.
I know it for a fact.
Tell us about it.
It's really good.
It's the back of a seat from Goodison Park. But obviously Goodison Park is no longer... Well, I guess it kind of is
Everton
there.
women play there, don't they?
Yeah, Everton women play there. But I think a lot of the fans on the last
You're saying the
day-
fans of Everton women aren't allowed to sit down, lean back anymore?
Well, I think they may have new seats because I think
They have
I
new
believe a lot of, as you may see from the back,
so this is
a lot of these
153.
seats were ripped.
But you don't know
ripped
what you don't know what row that was. You just know it was seat
Just
153.
153, seat 153 somewhere in Goodison.
Now, if that's genuine, firstly, it's a criminal artifact,
Well,
of course, because it was
it's-
stolen from the stadium.
It certainly looks exactly like what
It really does.
the seat backs looked like in Goodison Park.
That's a special piece of history.
I think it's a
That's a very special piece of history. I like that a lot. Okay, JJ, how do you compete with that? What have you got here? Oh, now you've got an envelope here. An
Yeah.
envelope, I should say.
I bought tickets to the World Cup final from 1998.
Did you?
Oh.
The France one.
Yeah.
Can I have a look?
Absolutely, you can. That is-
Fantastic. Well,
there
let
you
me
go.
say.
It's
Now,
been
those
used,
are
so you can't
beautiful
get in now.
For Saint-Denis.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, that's the big city in Red Dead Redemption 2 as well, so even more special for that reason.
Absolutely. So that's
How
France
about that?
versus Brazil in the World Cup final 1998.
Wow. Do you want to hold it in front of a camera
do.
for
Let's do it there, let's
for
do it there.
Jamie and see? Can we see that, Jamie? A little bit? Beautiful.
It's-
Beautiful.
It looks cool.
How about that?
I mean, the little hologram on it is really cool. 350 francs that cost.
350 francs.
Which back
Bargain.
then was
So, but what did it cost you to buy off eBay?
£97.
90. You paid £97, and what did you pay for that, John?
around that figure.
Also £97. Good to know. Next time, can you bring in the money, the amount of money you spent as well?
Yeah.
That'd be good to know.
Got that on the list.
Okay, now I'm curious to know what you guys think the live chat. I've put a poll in the live chat, and for people listening the next day or watching on YouTube the next day, we're live doing this podcast, and the way that this game works is it's not us that decides, it's the live audience joining us. I put a poll in every time. Who should win, JJ or John? JJ or John? Who do you think they've picked?
Oh,
Normally
no idea.
John's got a really good one. I don't know. I think this is amazing, but that is very
I think
funny.
they're both good.
Yeah.
The poll's over now, so I can't influence it. Right?
I've ended the poll, yeah.
I would have voted for JJ. No offense, John. Nothing to do with your Arsenal jabs. earlier,
On
but
what basis, Kyle?
I love a paper ticket.
Yeah?
I think paper tickets are really cool.
They don't make paper tickets anymore, do they?
No, they
It's all
don't.
on your phone. You can't sell your phone on eBay.
Well-
You actually you can. You can do that.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Well, let me tell you, with 78% of the vote, it goes to JJ Bull. Well done. Well done.
Yes.
But I have to say, both items mighty fine today. Well done to both
Really good,
competitors.
yeah.
And of course, that now means that we are
It's definitely going to fall and knock you out, John.
covering up everything there. We're now on 3-2. How about that? After 6 installments,
Woof.
3-2. And because we had to strike one off, we now have we know it will be an odd number of victories. So someone will win this outright. Very exciting. We'll be back with number 7 on Friday the 10th of July. So a bit of a wait, 10-day wait for that. But if you want to see the magnificent dramatic conclusion of the second-hand eBay game, then join us for the final week of the World Cup, because rounds 8, 9 and 10 will be on both semi-finals and the World Cup final. Very exciting. And the amounts of money, frankly, are
Staggering.
staggering. Absolutely. How about that? Well, anyway, JJ Bull, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kaynak, thank you.
Dankeschön.
Jon Mackenzie, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, that's right. Thanks to producer Ryan and producer Jamie and James, who's outside. And we will be back tomorrow. Yes, we're back tomorrow with
I'm here.
France-Sweden. That's right. We're live tomorrow for the 10 p.m. game. France-Sweden. Hopefully there's no more penalties. Auf Wiedersehen to you, Deutschland.